Welcome to the part one of
Part 1 of this series.
I've been here in the Philippines for 3 months as of tomorrow. And I thought I'd do a 3 month update. Can I survive here in the Philippines? And for a short answer, I'm going to say, I don't know. Now, I'm going to get into the rest of the details here in just a minute, but for a short answer, I don't know yet. I made a list of things I want to talk about. Number one is money. People have asked and asked, on different YouTube videos, can you survive in the Philippines on $1,000 a month, or can you survive on $700 a month? Well, $700, I'm gonna say no. If you are alone by yourself and you're very frugal with your spending, and depending on where you're at, I would say yes, you can. Now, if you have a lady friend or a lady friend with a kid, I'm gonna say no. Unless you're living way out in the province and living strictly like a Filipino lives. If you have any Western taste in food or anything, no. I'm living on $1,000 a month right now with my fiance and her son, and we're living semi-city, semi-province, I reckon you call it, in a subdivision on the outskirts of a town. And $1,000 a month is tough. Let me tell you, you could survive if no surprises came about. Because what they don't tell you is you got to pay for every 2 months. You got to renew your visa. And one little hospital stay, here 3 weeks ago or so, I got dengue. Went to the hospital for 1 day. They wanted me there for 4 days, but I only stayed for one because they told me what the bill was going to be. I said, I can't afford that, and I left. But dengue is a serious thing here. I mean, I'd been here, a month and a half, and I'd got dengue. So you never know what will happen. And it's not like I'm out in the jungle with the mosquitoes. I never even knew I had a mosquito bite, and I ended up getting dengue. So, and if you live in any of the bigger cities, I don't think you could survive on $1,000 a month, not comfortably. So, even by yourself. You could, but you wouldn't be living very good. Okay, the second point I want to make is things to do. It depends on where you're living at. If you happen to have a girl and she has some province land and you move out to the province, you might get out there and do a little farming and this and that and the other, have something to do, keep you busy. But living in a subdivision on the edge of town, unless you have a lot of money to go out and sightsee, if you're just living on a tight budget, there's nothing to do. Money is what makes the world go round. So that's another thing, going back to the money. If you want to go travel and sightsee, you're not going to do it on $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month if you just sitting at home eating what we would call ramen noodles. They call it pancit here. Peanut butter sandwiches. But yeah, there's not a lot to do sitting in a subdivision without a lot of money. You're just sitting here watching TV. So yeah, that's another bad thing. And far as that is, things to do, I would suggest anybody moving here to move to an expat community. Because although they say, oh, Filipinos speak English, they might can and they might understand you somewhat, but they're not going to sit around and talk to you in English. Unless you're a really serious introvert and don't want to talk to nobody, you're going to get to a point where you won't be able to talk to carry on a conversation with somebody. If you're in an expat community, you know, you can go down to the coffee shop and talk to some of the other expats and, you know, have conversations with them. But if you're living in an isolated place, not in an expat community, with just you or your Filipina girlfriend, she might speak English to you, but anytime she talks to anybody else, her son or her family or anybody in the neighborhood, she's going to speak her language. And you're going to be sitting there wondering, well, I don't know what the world they're talking about, you know. You just feel like a third wheel or like a Martian that done came down to Earth and can't speak Earth language, you know. It gets old fast. And you can talk to them about it and talk to them about it, and they're still not going to speak English, you know. So trying to convince your girl or whoever to talk English around you so that you can be in part of the conversation ain't going to happen. So that's something to keep in mind. You want to move somewhere where other expats is, just so you have people that you have things in common with, you can conversate with. Now, if you're an introvert, you're fine. As long as you don't want to have a conversation with anybody, you just like being alone, you're good. It's a different culture here. And let me say, if you plan on coming to the Philippines and finding you some sweet province girl, and I would suggest if you're going to find a nice lady here, that's where you need to go. And you're thinking about moving her to a city, whether it be Manila, Dumaguete, Iloilo, somewhere like that, you need to have that discussion way in advance before you even get serious. Because some girls don't want to move to the city. You know, some girls want to live right there near their family. So don't think you're just going to find one out in the province and move her to the city. Some might, some won't. So that is a discussion you need to have real early in a relationship. Talking about different cultures, that is something that you will have to learn to deal with. Their culture is not like our culture. Some people say, oh, the Filipinos are so sweet and they take care of their man, and they do. They do their wifely duties better than any lady in America will. And you hear a lot of these people say, well, I ain't putting everybody in a box. Well, I will. I've seen it, been around a lot of American women, and trust me, a Filipino will take care of you 10 times more. They'll give you a manicure and a pedicure, and they'll cook your breakfast and wash your clothes and sweep the floor 100 times a day. And I mean, this house is spotless. But that's what they consider their wifely duties. When it comes to just companionship, sitting around talking, and I ain't talking about nothing dirty. I'm just talking about sitting around having a conversation. They're not going to do it every now and then. Now, I can hear her outside right now just carrying up a conversation like all get out with somebody in Tagalog, but she won't come in here and carry on a conversation with me like that. And that brings up the next subject of tempo. Tempo is a real thing here. And some men might say, well, good. She wants to get mad and not talk, that's fine with me. Well, you're talking about American women that likes to argue. They don't like to argue. They'll just quietly go outside or go in another room and just won't speak. And they don't have to be mad at you. They can just be worried about something. And they'll just shut off everything and just walk off and sit by themselves all day. So, yeah, tempo is a real thing. And if you try to ask what's wrong or why you sitting by yourself, it just makes them mad. So you better off just leave them alone, leave them be. So when they get things worked out, things get back to normal. So yes, tempo is a real thing. And if you think you can deal with that, good for you. If you don't, well, you have a problem. Let me go down the list here. I done discussed, back to talking with your fiance or something. Their culture is different, and you can have slight conversation, but if you try to talk about anything worldly, you know, what's going on in the world in a different country or America or wherever a war might be or something, you'll see their eyes just glaze over. They don't even care to talk about it. You know, that it does not concern them. Their world is right here in a 5 kilometer area. That's it. That's all they're concerned about. They don't care about nothing else in the world. You try to talk to them about anything. She's a big basketball fan, but if you try to talk to her about a different sport, she'll just walk away, ignore you. So, and I don't know if all Filipinos are like that. I've only got experience with one. So yeah, but it ain't just sports, anything. Like, I'm like all old people. I sit here and watch the news, you know, what's going on in America. And I try to speak to her about some of it, and it's like talking to that wall there. She don't hear it. If she hears it, you can't tell she hears it. You know, she ain't gonna make one iota big eyes or an expression or anything. She'll sit there and listen to you and just turn around and walk off. You know? So you don't know if she understood you or not. You know, you have no clue. And so there again, you feel like you're talking to a wall. So get ready for that. Different country. Humor. They have a different humor here. I see some of their local TV, and I think it originates out of Korea or somewhere. I don't know where they get their little videos from that they think are so funny. It makes these little cartoon sound and laughing sounds and junk that are just, to me, childish. They'll laugh and laugh and laugh at it. But you try to tell her any kind of a joke that you've heard or seen on TV or anything, or you grew up knowing, you know, she'll say, I don't understand you. So they don't even try to get your humor. They just, I don't understand you, and walk away. So yeah, their humor's much different here. They do smile and laugh and joke when they're amongst their Filipino friends, but when you try to say something that might be a little funny, they don't get it. So don't waste your time. Not just my fiance, but all of them around here. They don't get American humor or Western humor. Y'all please stay tuned for part 2 of this series where Malou gives her input. If you want to see some more of our content,
All you have to do is to click the videos at the bottom of this screen. See you. Enjoy watching.